Welcome to the Motivational Medium podcast. I'm Anne-Marie Lord, a psychic medium, author, and the founder of the Motivational Medium Academy. On this podcast, we'll explore intriguing topics such as mediumship, psychic abilities, and the amazing idea that we all have intuition within us. Whether you're a believer, skeptic, or somewhere in between, get ready to unlock your extraordinary potential as we discover the supernatural world together. If you want your questions featured on the show, be sure to join my tribe by subscribing to my newsletter at annemarielord.com. Let's go. Hi, welcome to episode 4 of Motivational Medium podcast. Today I wanted to talk to you all about signs from your spirits, signs from your loved ones in heaven. These are our little gifts that most of us miss. Now, when I see some people, they talk about they see butterflies or they see birds or they see dragonflies, and these are all beautiful signs. But sometimes you get real, solid signs that are unmistakably from your loved ones in spirit. And on today's episode, I want to teach you to be open to that. I want to teach you to make sure that your loved ones aren't working really, really hard to show you signs and you're totally missing them or discarding them as something else. Now, when you get a sign that is solid, unmistakable, you will know, you feel it in your heart, you feel it in your stomach, and it gives you this absolute glow all over you. Now, don't get me wrong. When my mum died, I waited at least 10 years for any signs. And I believe, and this is just my belief, that my grief and what I was feeling and what I was going through at that time stopped me really from being open to seeing what was being shown in front of me. I can't tell you that there were signs being shown in front of me because I actually didn't see them. But I want to tell you something that happened to me not long ago. It was only last month. And my little dog, believe it or not, I actually can't read for myself, which is a good thing. Some people might say it's a bad thing. Some might say it's a good thing, but I literally can't read for myself. I can go with my intuition, which is good, but I can't do a reading for myself. I suppose it's Spirit's way of letting me integrate with everyday life, if you like. Anyway, let me tell you this. My little dog, Angel, died. He was 16 years of age. He was absolutely beautiful. He was the love of our lives. And he was a little tiny Chihuahua cross Shih Tzu. And he was always barking. He was always into everything. He could be a narky little bugger as well. So sometimes we used to call him the wee shit. Now, whether or not we should have called him that, I don't know. Please know I am a dog lover, so I don't want anyone saying, oh, no, that's cruel to dogs. It wasn't cruel. He had the best life. He was just loved so much. Anyway, unfortunately, he was really, really sick and he passed away. About 3 days later, I was going to the shops and I wanted to get this wooden block with his photograph on. I went to this place where you get these photographs done. And I said to the woman, it usually says take 5 minutes. And the woman said, can you come back in 20 minutes? And I said, yeah, not a problem. So we goes off and does our shopping. And as I'm walking around the shops, my husband was having a really hard time losing Angel. And I got this overwhelming feeling and like a thought that I get dropped into my head when I'm doing my mediumship readings. This thought dropped in and this feeling dropped in. It's too early for Mitch, who's my husband, to have this photograph sitting around the house. And I said to my daughter, maybe it's a bit too soon for me to go and get this photograph. So she said, no, it'll be okay. Anyway, we goes back to the lady and she said, I don't know what's happened, but the machine's broke. So I was like, okay. So she said, I actually can't do your photograph. Okay. I asked her, could we have it done in a couple of days? Yeah. We tried to get it back in a couple of days, couldn't get it back. I was thinking, this is crazy. But let me rewind you back to that day. So I get to the car and I'm thinking to myself, was that a sign from Angel to say, Please don't take a picture of me home. Dad's not ready for me to see this just yet. I don't know. Anyway, we get into the car and there was a car facing us. And if you go onto my Instagram or on my Facebook, you'll actually see a photograph of this. And there was a car right facing us, and on the number plate, it said, "We Angel." My daughter was like, "Oh my God, Mum, have you seen this?" I just started laughing and thought, oh, wow, you are massively around. Now, this is something I'd been asking him for. Please give us a sign as soon as you get there and as soon as you're safe. I know you'll be fine. And I just want you to know that we love you so much. And if you could just give us a sign to let us know. And here he was. So we get into the car, still absolutely gobsmacked that first the machine wouldn't work, that was going to do the picture. And then we had this "We Angel" in front of us, this number plate, which is where I get a lot of my signs from. I always get them from number plates. And then we switches on the engine of the car and Robbie Williams started blaring out, "I'm loving angels instead." Me and my daughter just looked at each other and started laughing. I was like, he is definitely around us today. And I got this overwhelming, beautiful sensation, this feeling through my body. And I just knew that he was with us that day. And as I say to you, I know when I'm reading for other people. And I know when I'm doing mediumship stuff for other people. However, I can't usually read for myself. So this was an absolute gift. It was amazing. It made me feel so good. Now, I want to just take you back a little bit. There was a lady come to see me one time, and I remember talking to her about little willy wagtail birds. And I remember saying to her, your nan will show you a sign of a willy wagtail bird by tomorrow. Now, there's willy wagtail birds everywhere, and I must be the most skeptical medium ever that lived. And I'm thinking, well, she's probably going to see a willy wagtail somewhere. And now I've set her mind off to see this willy wagtail. And I wasn't convinced, and I don't usually say that about a willy wagtail. So I was wondering what was going on. Anyway, to cut a big long story short, the next day she sends me a message, and on this message there was a photograph on a cup of a willy wagtail. So someone handed her a cup of coffee and said, I've just gone and got you a cup of coffee. And she's sitting at a desk and comes in and hands her the cup. And on the cup was a willy wagtail. Wow. The power of spirit. So don't be trying to find these messages or these signs. They will find you. But just be open, and be open to maybe having them on number plates, maybe having them on the sides of cars. Another time I remember when my daughter was having her first baby, and I get a phone call in the middle of the night saying, will you come down to King Eddie's Hospital? So I live a lot further away from King Eddie's Hospital. And anyway, I jumped in the car, I fly down the freeway. It's early hours in the morning, not a soul on the freeway. And this car come past me. And on the car, on the number plate, it had Ash, A-S-H. And my daughter's name is Ashley, and I call it Ash. And I just knew, Mum's got this. My mum in spirit has got this. And when I got to the hospital, it was fine. And my granddaughter was born fine, and everything that was going wrong stopped going wrong. It was just amazing. So trust your signs. They're trying to get in touch with you every day. I would love to hear some of your signs. If you jump on my Instagram or on my Facebook and want to share some of your signs with me and with all the people that are on there, we would love to hear your signs. And if you've got any photographs or whatever that looks like for you, then please jump on and share it with us. Tag me in it, Anne-Marie Lord, and let me see what your signs are as well. Spirit is really trying to show us that they're around every day, especially when we have stuff going on. Now, if you're the person who has stuff going on every day, maybe you're not going to see these every day. But if you've got something going on within your life and you're feeling a little bit low or a little bit heavy, then watch out for your signs. I'm not guaranteeing you're going to get your signs, but usually Spirit will let you know that they're around and you've got this and they've got your back. So just be open. And as I say, mine is in number plates, which is usually absolutely spot on. Another thing that I want to quickly tell you before we move on was always my Auntie Rose had dogs as long as I can remember. She was a pure animal lover. When Angel did pass away, all day, all morning, I was saying, please come and get Angel. Take him with you, keep him safe, keep him warm, love him like we did, you know? I wanted her to meet him as he crossed over. Anyway, as I was driving back from the vet, we couldn't see any number plates. And my daughter came in from school. She'd gone and picked the kids up from school. And she come in and she didn't know I'd been asking this. And she come through the door and she said, Mum, she said, I went and picked the kids up from school and I knew we were coming here. So I went and grabbed them a milkshake. And as we were coming through McDonald's drive-through, there was a car in front of me and it had Rosie written on the car. And I honestly believe that our Angel is with Rosie. That was my sign. Absolutely 100% my sign. And I will take that. Now, I know I'm going to get people who say, no, they're just things as your imagination. I don't believe that. And this is just my belief. And, you know, if you're listening to this podcast, then you must have sometime or somehow a similar belief to mine. And I would say, look out for the signs. You will see them, but you will see them when you least expect them. Don't try and make them happen. They will come when you need them and when you least expect them. And if you've been waiting for a sign for a long time, please stop waiting. You know, you've probably had signs that have happened along the journey. And I just believe they will show you when they're ready that they're very much alive, very much in the spirit world, looking after each and every one of us. Okay, so watch out for the signs, guys. And please tag me in your signs. You know, share it with me on Instagram or on Facebook. Send me a message. I love to get me messages and I love to hear about your signs. Okay, so please share that with me. And watch out for your own signs. Okay, so now what I want to do is, as you know, I always answer questions on this podcast. And I got a lovely question from a lady called Donna. And she actually sent me a message which shook me a little bit because it said, can you tell me or do you know where my husband's first wedding ring is? And I was like, wow, okay. How am I going to find the wedding ring? So what I did was I sat there and I just meditated and I closed my eyes and I thought about the energy of this ring and, you know, where it could be. And I imagined this ring in my head. And the first thing that I seen, it was dark. And then I seen water and it looked like muddy water. I don't know what this was, but I felt like I was busy doing something. I felt like it had slipped off my finger or I'd lost it in maybe muddy water. But unfortunately, the muddy water and the place that it went to, I feel it's going to be very, very hard to find. So unfortunately, I would say maybe 90%, I don't think you're going to find this. I think it's gone. I'm sorry. I would love to be saying to you, you know, I think you're going to find it and keep looking. But the only thing I would say, if you've got a place anywhere that's got muddy water or there's water there, then that would be the place I would be looking. Okay, because this is all I could see. I could feel quite cold and I felt like my fingers were quite cold and I felt like it either come off in this muddy water or in the water and my fingers were quite cold. That's all I got with that. So I hope that it's helped a little bit. Obviously, I'm not sure that you're going to find it again, but it might help you understand or even go look in the place where you think you've lost it. Okay, so don't forget it was cold, it was muddy water and it felt a bit dark as well. Yeah, so that's the place where I could see it. All right, so good luck with that. And thanks for sending in your questions. And don't forget, guys, if you've got a question, you need to be on the newsletter. So go to my website, annemarielord.com, sign up to the newsletter, and then you can submit one question to be answered sometime over the next 12 months on this podcast. And I look forward to reading all your questions. There's been absolutely hundreds of them sent in at the moment, which is great. And I'm going to try and get through as many as I can. All right, guys. So, and now I want to do an angel card reading for you. Now, this is something I used to do on the radio show when I had my radio show a few years ago. And it got so much traction and so much feedback from lots of people who resonated with the cards that I used to pull out for the day. So that's what I wanted to do with you guys on the podcast as well. So every fortnight when I do the podcast, I will read an angel card for you guys. It might resonate with you, it mightn't, but keep listening, because one time during the whole year, if you like, and the recordings of the podcast, we might get an answer. All right. So the first card that I pulled out for this podcast today was the emotional healing card. Now, sometimes we feel like we can just keep going. We can just keep going forward. You know, when we've had things go wrong, maybe we're in grief over a loss of a job or a loss of a person, or, you know, maybe we've split up in a relationship, whatever it is, we have this emotion that's attached to this, and we think we can just put it in a little box, if we like, in our brain somewhere in our mind, and just carry on. I always think this emotion needs to be looked at, dealt with, and move forward. So don't just leave it in there. If you need to go and speak to someone about this emotion, if you need to go and speak to a grief counsellor or someone, a marriage guidance counsellor, whatever it is, and then I would say do it, okay? If you're thinking about doing it because you feel like you're getting stuck and you just can't move on, then go and speak to a professional about it, and they will help you and give you the tools to move forward. Now, some people say to me, oh, I've been to see a grief counsellor and I didn't feel too good about it. And well, obviously they're going to touch on things that you've put in this box. So it's not going to feel that comfortable. However, it's not going to feel as bad as what you think. I've been there myself when my mum died. She was only 47 and I was only 27. And to go and speak to someone professionally really did help. I remember the first day that I went and it wasn't very comfortable, and I thought, I'm never going back there again. I don't think I'd cried like that in such a long time. But then I decided I'm going to go back. I'm going to keep trying this. And I did. And I went to see grief counsellors. I went to see Reiki healers. The journey for me just carried on. As people who've read my book will know, I went on a bit of a big journey and then started looking after myself. So if you want to move forward in this, and if you want to, know that there's lots and lots of emotional healing coming your way, but it's in the signs of hugs, it's in the signs of people caring. It's in the signs of talking to people. Yeah, whether it be your friends, your family, or professional, it's in that way and it's coming in your direction. Okay, so you are getting some emotional healing, but sometimes we have to help that along a little bit, and that's by talking to people. Okay, so I hope that helped, and I hope that got to whoever needed to hear that today. I've loved talking to you today about signs. Don't forget, look out for your signs, and I look forward to speaking to you soon on episode 5, I think it is, next time. All right, guys, have the best day, and from my heart to yours, take care and lots of love. Bye. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this show. It's important to note that while I'm here to inspire, encourage and guide you, I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist or a doctor. Join me again in 2 weeks for more captivating revelations on the supernatural. Remember to be in with a chance to have your questions answered on the podcast. Subscribe to my newsletter at AnneMarieLord.com. Stay in the tribe to vibe. I appreciate you guys. See you next time.